any mantra, just Hare Krishna Mahamantra is enough for this Kali Yuga. And it will give us all the benefits what we used to get in the ancient times. You don't need to study the Vedas, you don't need to run away into the forest, you don't need to go into the Himalayas. Wherever we are, if we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Krishna is immediately with us. That's why he says, he tells Narada Muni, Naham tistami vaikunta yoginam hrideshta tata tistami narada yatra gayanti madbhakta. Wherever my devotees are chanting my holy name, or Narada Muni, that is where I reside. So it is time for the Arati. So when we stand up, please everybody pour your hearts out into chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The lyrics are there on the TV screen, so if you can always follow the lyrics so that you can sing along. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirdisesha Sunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranita, Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Request everyone to keep your hands up in the air. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you everyone for joining for the Arati. So we're going to offer obeisance to Guru Parampara. It's very important to get the blessings of the Guru. So please, if you have some space, you can bow down. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Acharya Stotra Sata Srimati Javanjani Sisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Acharya Stotra Sata Srimati Javanjani Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardham ki. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai ki. Tulsi Maharani Bhakti Devi ki. Vrindavan Dham Mathura Dham ki. Mayapur Dham Navadip Dham ki. Jagannath Puri Dham Dwaraka Dham ki. Bhaktivedanta Manor Dham ki. Harinama Sankirtan ki. Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Can I request everyone, please be seated. We're going to be singing the Narasimha prayer. The lyrics are there on the TV screen, so you can follow us. It's not about how we are chanting. It's just all about just pouring our heart and singing for Narasimha Dev. So just please be seated, and as much as you can, please repeat after me the Narasimha prayer. Hare Krishna. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadayini. Hira Hiranyakashipurvakshah. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Narsimho Parato Narsimho. Yato yato yamitato Narsimho. Bahe Narsimho Hrudaye Narsimho. Narasimhamadem Sharanam Prapaje. Narasimhamadem Sharanam Prapaje. Tava kara kamalavare naka Abduta Sringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadeshu Hare Jaya Jagadeshu Hare Jaya Jagadeshu Hare. Savakara Kamalavare Naka Adhuta Sringa Hiranyakashipu Anubringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadeshu Hare Jaya Jagadeshu Hare Jaya Jagadeshu Hare Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Nitai ki Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna everyone, thank you for joining to the Bhaktivedanta Manor. We are very fortunate. I was just reflecting while we were singing the Narasimha prayer, I was just reflecting on how fortunate we are all that in a nice place in London, in a place like this, in the middle of 80 acres of land, we are happily sitting and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And whom can we thank other than Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master sitting over there, with the kind of sacrifices that Srila Prabhupada has done for us. As many of you would be aware, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master sitting over there, given us this wonderful bhakti platter where we can do deity worship, where we can do mantra meditation, where we can read all the books like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. He's given us everything together in one place. When we grew up, we had to search where to read spiritual knowledge. But here we are very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has translated 80 volumes of books he has translated. And the most important thing, as you all know, being born in Sanatana Dharma, we have the most precious book called Bhagavad Gita. Right? The one and only book where Lord is directly speaking to each one of us, to human mankind. And there are so many people who have interpreted and written Bhagavad Gita according to their own perception. But Srila Prabhupada, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, has given us the most authentic version of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. Which means there is no wrong interpretation. Exactly the way Krishna spoke on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, word to word meaning has been given by Srila Prabhupada through the Bhagavad Gita. How can we be so fortunate? Today, Jagannath, in the place called Lord Jagannath, in the place called Puri, he's going for a Ratha Yatra. It's happening in this month. And we are so fortunate because only the Hindus are allowed into the Lord Jagannath temple. Anybody who's not a Hindu, they can't enter into the temple. But thanks to Srila Prabhupada, today we have so many people from different religions and different places. They all become devotees of great Krishna. And they are not allowed to enter into the Jagannath Puri, into the Lord Jagannath temple. But Krishna is so kind and merciful through Srila Prabhupada, who introduced this Jagannath Rath Yatra everywhere in the world. Now, the Jagannath Rath Yatra is not only happening in Puri, but it is happening all over the world. How fortunate we are, right? Recently, last month, we had this Jagannath Rath Yatra in London. Imagine in a place like London, right from 1973, this has been going on. And today, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, this Jagannath Rath Yatra is happening all over the world. Imagine, because when we say Jagannath, we are saying the Lord of the universe, right? The Lord of the universe means He's available, should be everyone. Not only just to Hindus or people in the land of Bharat, but should be available to everyone. So Krishna is so kind and merciful that He Himself is coming in a chariot and saying, okay, you cannot come into the temple, I will come on the chariot and give your darshan to everyone. Isn't that amazing? How kind Krishna is, how kind our Guru. Sometimes we say, what has Krishna done for us? What else can Krishna do for us? He comes in so many different incarnations to give us the message that always, for two reasons why Krishna comes, right? Paritranaya sadhunam, vinasaya cha duskrutam, dharma samsthapanardaya sambhavami yuge yuge. You all know the very famous sloka from Bhagavad Gita. For the love of His devotees and to put an end to all the demoniac people. Just now we are singing the Narasimhadev Arati, right? Lord Krishna, He just appeared from a pillar in the form of Narasimhadev, just for the little boy Bhakta Prahlad. So imagine how the Lord can appear from, He's showing that I can appear from anywhere. You show me it's not about God is everywhere. Sarvata pani padam ta sarvato shishiromukam sarvata smriti malloke sarvam avrita tishtati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am everywhere. My eyes are watching everywhere. My ears are hearing everywhere. But the only thing is, we have this material body, we have material eyes. With these material eyes, we cannot see Krishna. That is why out of His causeless mercy, Krishna appears to be in the form of a deity, so that at least we can see the deity form. Because the spiritual form of Krishna, we cannot see with our material eyes. Right? So Krishna is so kind. He's appearing here in the form of a deity and giving His darshan, saying that in this form, you'll be happily able to take my darshan. We all know that in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asked Krishna, can you show me the universal form? Krishna showed His universal form also by giving him divine eyes. And even a great warrior like Arjuna was scared seeing the universal form. She said, Krishna, please come back into your normal form. I cannot see this universal form. It's so scary, right? It's like Lord Krishna, everyone, Shiva and Ganapati, everybody were there in that universal form, right? So Krishna is telling us, like all the devatas, everybody is residing within Krishna. So you don't need to worry about it. Just that's the reason why in Gita Mahatyam, Lord Shiva tells Parvati Devi, very simple thing. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva, Eko Mantrasya Tasya Namani Yani Karmape Ekatasya Devasya Tasya Seva. I think all the mothers, you should remember this particular sloka from Gita Mahatyam, which glorifies Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Shiva is telling Parvati. In Sanatan Dharma, we have so many books. Sometimes children say like, Mama, this Hinduism, we have so many books, so many gods. What is it? I want simple, something simple. So in this sloka, Lord Shiva is telling Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. That means we have Vedas, we have Upanishads, we have Puranas, we have everything. But in Sanatan Dharma, if you have to follow one book, that can be Bhagavad Gita. Very simple, one book, Bhagavad Gita. All the Vedic secrets, everything is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself is telling, Iti guhyam tamam sastram idam uktam maya naga etad buddha buddhiman krita krityasya bharat. Arjuna, the most confidential secrets of the Vedas I am explaining to you in this Bhagavad Gita. So where do we need to go? We don't need to go anywhere else. This is the essence of entire Upanishad. This is called as Gita Upanishad. It is the essence of the entire Vedic literature there in Bhagavad Gita. So in Sanatan Dharma we have to remember just one book, Bhagavad Gita. Right, one Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva is telling, if you have to worship one Supreme Lord, that is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Why? Because above Ganesha you have Lord Shiva, but above Krishna is there anyone? There is no one. Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita, Mata Partam Nanyat Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Idam Potram Sutre Maniganaiva. Krishna says, Arjuna, I am the supreme truth. Beyond me, there is nothing beyond me. There is nothing. Krishna, if we pray to Krishna, Krishna needn't have to go and ask some God to give us the thing, because he is the Supreme Lord. Everything is coming from Krishna. And Krishna says, if there is only one mantra that has to be recited in this Kali Yuga, we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Why are we chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Because Krishna is so kind and merciful, he comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself, but he came in the avatar of a devotee. See, imagine how many times Krishna is coming again and again. This time in Kali Yuga, he came in the form of a devotee. How many of you are aware of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Anyone of you are aware at all? One hand, two hands. Remaining all, you're not aware of it? So I had to quickly share with you, because you have taken so much of effort to come to the Krishna Mandir, and it is our dharma that we have to share this knowledge with you so that you can pass it on to your children, right? So here you see this, they are the reason why we are sitting here in the Hare Krishna temple. So in the middle, wearing the yellow color dhoti, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's none other than Krishna Bhagavan himself. 500 years ago, he appeared in a place called Mayapur to tell us that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna told, Bhakyamam abhijanati yavanyasya smatatvaha. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, I told you Karma Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, all these different types of yogas, but the one and only way you can understand me is by Bhakti Yoga, only by Bhakti. But how to do Bhakti, people are completely forgotten. So that's the reason why Krishna again comes in the form of a devotee called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show us how to do Bhakti in this Kali Yuga. Just like a mother sometimes shows her children how to write alphabets, so Krishna himself comes in the form of a devotee called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna together, but in the mood of Radharani. Like how Radharani was the greatest devotee, right? So he showed that this is how you have to be the great devotee of Krishna. Not only that, he came in the color complexion of Radharani. Radharani was in a golden complexion. That's why we always pray early in the morning. We pray Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Meaning that, dear Radharani, you are in a molten golden complexion. And because he came in the color complexion of Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also called as Gauranga. Right? Gauranga. Gauranga means Krishna in a golden complexion. And second, blue color dhoti. Do you know who it is? Who is the brother of Krishna? Balaram. So Balaram, Lord Balaram again comes in the form of an incarnation of a devotee called Nityananda. So Gauranga and Nityananda are none other than Krishna and Balaram in Dwapara Yuga. Again in Kali Yuga appeared 500 years ago in the form of devotees called Gauranga and Nityananda. They are the ones who have given us the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Is it okay that you understand now that why we are chanting the Hare Krishna? We have 1,000 temples all around the world. Every Hare Krishna temple you go, will be chanting the Hare Krishna Maha. Why? Because Krishna himself gave this mantra. And why did Krishna come in the form of devotee? This person is the reason, this personality. His name is Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is a joint incarnation of Sadashiva and Mahavishnu. And it is he who was sitting by the Ganges and praying to Krishna, please come in this material world. People in this Kali Yuga have forgotten how to do bhakti. And that is when Krishna comes in the form of devotee called Gauranga, right? And the second from the right, holding his hands like this, that is Gadadhar Pandit. And who's Gadadhar Pandit? Gadadhar Pandit is an incarnation of Radharani. Okay? And the last, you can see, red color dhoti. Again, I'll ask you one thing. His name is Srivas Pandit, and I will tell you who it is. I'll give you a clue, okay? Who is the one devotee of Narayana holding Veena in his hand? Traveling in space. There, Narad Muni, right? So Narad Muni again comes in the incarnation of a devotee called Srivas Pandit. And very interestingly, the first Hare Krishna Kirtan happened in Narad Muni's house, Srivas Pandit. It started with indoors. And after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, enough of indoors, let's go outdoors. And then the Hare Krishna Kirtans were spread all over on the streets and everybody started chanting. So I just wanted to share this knowledge with you in Hare Krishna temple. The reason why we're chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because of Gauranga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also called as Gauranga, and he is the one who has given us this message that in this Kali Yuga, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva Gatiranitam. That is, in this Kali Yuga, the one and only way to attain Krishna Prema is by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now you understand? So can I request everyone, because they are the ones who have given us this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they are the ones who are so merciful avatars. If we get the blessings of Gauranga and Nityananda, Krishna Prema is guaranteed in our life. We all want Krishna Prema, right? And that becomes very, very easy when we pray to Gauranga and Nityananda. So is it okay if I can ask everyone, keep your hands up in the mood of surrender, and let's glorify Gauranga and Nityananda. Okay, just repeat after me. Gauranga! I'm much louder than all of you together. Gauranga! That's better. Gauranga! Nityananda! Nityananda! When I say Gauranga, you say Nityananda. When I say Nityananda, you say Gauranga. Okay? Gauranga! Gauranga! Nityananda! Nityananda! Gauranga! Gauranga! Nityananda! Nityananda! So I just repeat the Panchatattva mantra, which is very, very auspicious, because getting the blessings of Panchatattva, they're called as Panchatattva. Panch means 5. Tattva means the truth. So getting the blessings of Panchatattva, our Krishna Bhakti will become very, very easy, because they are so kind and merciful. Normally when we chant any mantra, if there are any offenses, right, the Panchatattva, all of them, they will bless that, okay, even if there are any offenses, they'll make sure that we don't get any reaction. Okay? So let's glorify the Panchatattva. I'll just repeat the name, and after that you can repeat after me, okay? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. And now chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it is so important, devotees, that you are all so precious to Krishna, that Krishna himself calls us to the mandir to give his darshan. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says very clearly that anything that you practice bhakti in this life or in your previous life, right? Remember this very clearly. Arjuna asked Krishna, Krishna, what if we practice bhakti for 2 years and after that we forgotten about it, we got married or we went to another place, we forgotten about bhakti. What happens to the 2 years of bhakti that we had done? Is it all waste? Is it all gone? There's no worth it? What happens to that bhakti that you practiced for 2 years? And Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, in bhakti life, in spiritual life, anything that you practice, even if you practice 1 year of bhakti, even if you practice 20% of your life in bhakti, Arjuna, nothing goes waste. Krishna says, anybody who does any bhakti towards Krishna, Krishna says, in your next life, a human life is guaranteed when you practice Krishna Bhakti. Second thing, Krishna says, I will make sure that because you practice your bhakti in your previous life, in this life I will make sure that you are born in a nice, decent, rich family, so that you are not struggling for bread and butter, so that you can focus on bhakti. Not only that, I will ensure that you are born in a nice devotional family, so that you can continue practicing your bhakti. Right? So 2 things Krishna says when you practice bhakti. Krishna is so kind. Even if you practice a little bit of bhakti, it's not that you are dedicated your complete life to Krishna. Krishna says, Neha Vikramanasusti Prachavayona Vidyate Swalpam Abhyasya Dharmasya Traiti Mahatavat. That even if you practice a little bit of bhakti, it will protect you all from the dangers of life and death. And in your next life, a human life is guaranteed. Being born in a rich family is guaranteed, or being born in a devotional family is guaranteed. So that why? Krishna says, because if you practice 20% bhakti in your previous life, Krishna calls you to the mandir, and somehow or the other you will get in touch with Krishna's devotees, and Krishna is reminding you that you practice 20% of bhakti, but you forgotten to continue. In this life, Krishna is giving once again an opportunity to practice from wherever you left off. You know, when you're reading a novel, you read 20 pages and you go somewhere, and after that you just put a marker so that you can continue from the 21st page. So like that, Krishna is giving an opportunity. The reason why all of you have come to the Krishna Mandir is Krishna is calling you to the Mandir, saying that in your previous life you practiced bhakti, but we have forgotten, right? We have forgotten. We don't remember anything, but Krishna remembers all our lives. Vedaham samatitani vartamani arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mamtu vedana kashna. Krishna says, I know all your lives, what you have done, last 100 lives, 1000 lives, what you have done, Krishna records. He knows everything. Krishna says, I know all your past, your present and your future, everything I know. But Krishna, about Krishna, we don't know. We are completely forgotten. We don't even know what we wore last week, right? But Krishna says, I remember everything. And that's the reason why he calls all of us to the mandir, to remind us that in your previous life, you have practiced bhakti, but you left off at one point of time. And so now, I'm calling you back to the mandir so that to remind you that from now on you practice wherever you left off your bhakti life, you can continue from here. But Krishna gives you something called free will, right? He gives you the free will. He doesn't force you. He somehow makes the arrangement in such a way that you come to the mandir. Somehow or the other you will come to the mandir, right? Some devotee, sometimes we may not be interested, but because we have done some piety in your previous life, some friend will bring us to the mandir, saying, hey, come on, let's go to the mandir. It's actually Krishna who's doing that, bringing you through some family. But there is one thing that Krishna gives all of us. He gives us free will. He will never He's given us a gift of free will, which means He will never force any one of us to come and do bhakti towards Him. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshisti na priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahi teteshtam. Krishna says, Arjuna, I am never partial to anyone, never am I envious of anyone. I am equal to everyone. If there is God, God is equal to everyone. Even if you say, I hate God, still God is giving you bread and butter, is giving you intelligence, everything, because He considers everyone as part and parcel of God, because we are all part and parcel of God. He never shows the discrimination. He knows that out of foolishness, you are becoming like an atheist. But Krishna says, but even though I am giving you the free will to do what you want, but if you want to go towards bhakti, like coming to the temple, reading the Bhagavad Gita, if you show bhakti towards Krishna, Krishna says, for those devotees who are engaging in bhakti towards me, Arjuna, I consider that person as a friend of mine, and I will remain as a friend to that person. So we all have to remember that we are all searching for friends on Facebook and in social media, and we are looking for all kind of friends, but the best friend is sitting in everyone's heart. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Suhridam Sarvabhutana, which means I am your best friend, I am your best well-wisher. So your best friend and your best well-wisher is sitting in our own heart. But instead of looking inside, we are looking outside, we are searching everywhere. And that's the reason why Krishna says the highest form of yogi is not who's wearing orange colored dress and going into the Himalayas, but Krishna says, Yoginamapi sarvesam madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamamata. Krishna says, Arjuna, according to me, the one who is meditating on me, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, meditating on Krishna within your heart and always transcendently serving Krishna with lots of love and chanting His holy name, Krishna says, that person is the highest form of yogi according to my opinion. So Krishna is giving his opinion in Bhagavad Gita that those who are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, those are doing mantra meditation, meditating on the sound vibration of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna says, according to me, that is the highest form of yogi. So we all have to remember this, that in Kali Yuga, we can't do silent meditation. The best meditation that is recommended is mantra meditation, right? So what we are doing here in this Hare Krishna temple is mindful mantra meditation. That means we are being mindful of completely focusing on the sound vibration. What does the sound vibration do? When we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the mantra enters through your ears when we are listening. That's why listening is very important. When we chant the Hare Krishna, when we are listening to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the mantra goes through your ears, enters into your heart, and it cleanses your entire heart. Because according to the Vedic scriptures, our heart is compared to a mirror. When a mirror is full of dust, can we see ourselves? We cannot see, right? So what it does is, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Cheto Darpuna Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagnina, which means the Hare Krishna Mahamantra cleanses your heart, cleanses your mind. And when everything is cleansed and purified, then the real love for Krishna will awaken in your heart. So the whole purpose of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is to awaken the pure love for Krishna within our hearts. So as we keep chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the real love for Krishna will awaken in heart. And when we experience that love of Krishna, then nothing in the world will give us so much of happiness. We had one of the best example is George Harrison from the Beatles, right? The George Harrison, he was the richest, he was the most powerful, he's the richest and most famous person. But somewhere, something he was still searching in his soul. What makes me happy, more happy than... They were trying to escape away from all this fame and wealth, and they were running away to India to get some spiritual happiness. And finally, George Harrison from the Beatles found happiness in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You know, he personally mentioned that when he was going to Europe for 3 days, he was continuously chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he said at the end of 3 days, I was still feeling fresh and still wanted to go on chanting the Hare Krishna. So we have to take examples of such kind of people, because in today's material world, people are running behind wealth and fame and all these things, thinking that that is going to give you happiness. But we have to learn from people like George Harrison that there is something more which can give you a more higher happiness. That is why when Srila Prabhupada went to the US, all the hippies, they were into drugs and intoxication and all that. And Srila Prabhupada said, what if I give you something higher than these drugs? Something which will give you really more higher happiness. And they were surprised. What can give us more happiness than drugs and all that? Then Srila Prabhupada introduced the hippies to this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And they have got so much of happiness by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that they left everything. And when one of the journalists asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the greatest miracle, can you tell me? He said the greatest miracle is all the hippies have become happies. All the hippies have become happies. They have left the drugs, they have left everything, and now they're only chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I want to give you this message that in this Kali Yuga, the best way to attain Krishna Prema, the real happiness, is by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I want to give you one sloka from Bhagavad Gita, is that okay? So that when you, along with your bakery takeaway, have some Bhagavad Gita takeaway, right? So just repeat after me. In this way, Krishna is telling how we can make a humble offering to Krishna every day early in the morning. Is that okay? So just repeat after me. I will tell you the sloka and after that you can repeat me. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam asnami prayatatmana. Sri Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, with lots of love, this is something mothers can teach their children, with lots of love, if you offer me 4 simple things, a flower, a tulsi leaf, a flower, a fruit or water, if you offer me with love and devotion, Arjuna, Krishna is saying, I will surely accept it. Don't have any doubt, I'm surely going to accept if you offer with love and devotion. So just repeat after me. Patram pushpam. You can be, don't feel shy, give it a try. Right? Just be loud. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati tad aham bhaktya upahritam asnami prayatatmana. So that way it's very nicely goes. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam asnami prayatatmana. If you want to refer to this sloka when you go home, remember it is from chapter number 9, Rajavidya Rajagupya Yoga, the king of knowledge, and it is verse number 26, right? And from Bhagavad Gita. We are all so fortunate to be born in Sanatan Dharma, so we should all have at least one sloka of Bhagavad Gita we should know at least in this lifetime, isn't it? That's the reason. And who else will give you this knowledge except from a Krishna temple, right? That is the reason why we try to do the sincere endeavor that devotees who come here, at least if you recite one sloka of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will be so pleased because he's sitting in everyone's heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshi Arjunatis. He's sitting in everyone's heart. So at least if you chant one sloka of Krishna, Krishna will be so pleased and happy with you that he will give you all the inspiration with which you can can take your bhakti life further, okay? So our humble request, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read at least one sloka of Bhagavad Gita every day, and just as I mentioned, just offer some fruits of flowers to Krishna, and Krishna is saying, with bhakti if you offer, I will surely accept it. So thank you very much for giving your time, and now it's time for Krishna Katha. Prabhuji is going to give us wonderful nectar, so please listen to that. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Anytime, any place.
Yeah, the beauty about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, a lot of people ask questions, can we chant this mantra in the morning, can we chant it in the evening, can we chant it in the afternoon? Remember, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatanchasta Dridavata, which means this Hare Krishna Mahamantra can be chanted anytime. As soon as you get up, in the night time, in the afternoon, when you're walking on the way to the station, wherever you are, at any time, under any circumstances, there is no rules and regulations. You can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra any place, no problem at all, at any time. Thank you, Mataji, for remembering that, reminding us of that. So please chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is the best way to attain Krishna Prema. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Some prasadam is being served in the Haveli. If you know where that is, it's in this direction. Yeah, as you walk down the stairs into the courtyard, on your right-hand side, there's the prasadam room. So if anybody wants to eat something, that will be served from now for the next hour or so. At 6 o'clock, we have Bhagavad Gita class. And until then, we are performing our regular daily function of hearing from this wonderful book called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is a wonderful opportunity to hear all about the Lord, what He does when He comes to this material world. And by hearing of these pastimes of Krishna, hearing His glories, and hearing the different prayers spoken by His devotees, one can become liberated. Yes? One becomes free from all reactions, all karmic reactions from one's past, and becomes liberated and fully in love with God. So, just before we begin, I'm going to offer a few prayers. This will take about 2 minutes, and then we'll start to hear all about Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunditam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahayam Darati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Vita Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Shcha Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschataveshatarine Vanshakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhi Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Charottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamurire Shunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto yabhadrani vidunoti suhitsatam Nashta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavat yutama shloke bhaktir bhaktinashtiki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's do it one more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're in volume 2 of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is not a formal lecture. It's simply an opportunity to hear from our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. By hearing from such a devotee of Krishna who is in intimate, loving relationship with the Lord, Krishna is very pleased that we spend our time and our mental energy hearing from such a devotee of Krishna. The Lord Brahma says, Jnane prayasam udapasyanamanta eva jivanti san mukaritam bhavadira vartam stane stita shutikitam tarvangmano bhirye prayasho jitaticho kasitaistri lokyam. Just stay where you are. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to change your job. You don't have to leave your family. You don't have to go anywhere. Just give up the process of speculating about what is the truth, what is God, what is the truth, and simply hear from authorities who actually know. Offer all respect unto their narrations, which glorify Krishna. And this is called Shruti Gitam. Just hear about Krishna from Krishna's devotees. Yes, dedicating your body, your mind, your words to those vibrations, those narrations. And what will be the result? The result will be that the Lord, who is Ajita, unconquerable, will agree to be conquered. We will conquer God because we have submitted ourselves to this process of hearing about Him from self-realized souls. Krishna will agree to be conquered. In other words, we will fall in love with Krishna, and He will reciprocate perfectly with our love. And at the end of this life, we don't have to return. Krishna says, Yad Gatvana Nivartante Tathama Paramamama. Once you achieve my supreme spiritual abode, you never have to return to this material world, which is full of miseries. It's a temporary place. And we have to point this out constantly because we're in such a condition that we're habituated to think that this is where I can find happiness, because we don't know anything else. But the reality of this world is that along with what appears to be some happiness, there are constant troubles, strife, and miseries, not least of which are disease, old age, and death. What to speak of having to take birth. So, birth, death, old age, and disease, nobody wants them, but they're forced upon us. Miseries brought about from our own material body and mind, yes, always harassing us, so many problems. Other living entities giving us trouble, pestering us, bothering us, being envious of us, trying to take from us. And then the natural environment, the conditions of the environment around us, excessive heat, cold. We're always trying to solve the inconveniences of our environment. So, various sufferings. And amidst all of this trouble, we are simply trying to satisfy ourselves with a little bit of sense pleasure. Yes, something for the senses and the mind. But such enjoyment has a beginning and an end. And because it has a beginning and an end, those who are wise don't try to find their happiness there. They try to find their happiness in the eternal, that which is permanent. So Krishna is offering permanent happiness with him in his spiritual abode. So yesterday we were reading about Lord Balaram, who is Krishna's elder brother. And Lord Balaram was he was a lot disappointed that the Pandavas, the cousins of Lord Krishna, and the Kauravas, yes, they were at odds with one another. Lord Balaram, he had some affection for Duryodhana because he taught Duryodhana the art of fighting with a club. And he was disappointed, to say the least, that Duryodhana and his brothers, all 100 of them, had decided to be inimical toward the 5 Pandavas. And war seemed inevitable. Rather than take sides, Lord Balaram, he went out. He went out on pilgrimage to avoid having anything to do with the conflict. And he came to Naimisharanya, where many great sages had gathered to perform sacrifice for 1,000 years for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. And when he arrived there, the sages had elected one speaker to recite the Vedic histories. His name was Ramaharshana Sutta. And this Ramaharshana Sutta, unfortunately, did not recognize the divinity of Lord Balaram. So when Balaram entered the assembly, he received great respect from all the sages present there. But Ramaharshana Sutta did not stand up. He was more or less insulting to Lord Balaram. He did not recognize that God himself had come. Because Balaram is Krishna's immediate expansion. Lord Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he has unlimited expansions. He is not a tiny person. He's not a finite person like you or I. He is unlimited. And he has unlimited avatars. Where does this word avatar come from? Yeah, of course, it's been made popular by a certain film. But the word itself is a Sanskrit word, and it means one who descends, one who crosses over from the spiritual realm. So Krishna is the source of all avatars. And his first avatar, you could say, his first expansion is Lord Balaram. Practically, Lord Balaram is Krishna's second body. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he considers himself servant of Krishna. Yes. Even Krishna's own personal expansions act for the pleasure of Swayam Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. So Balaram came into the assembly, and Ramaharshana Sutta did not honor him, did not recognize him, and remained seated. So Balaram, understanding that a correction was required, because you can't sit on the seat of Vyasadeva to give a discourse on Vedic knowledge if you do not have actually respect for God. Anyone who sits on the seat of Vyasadeva, the seat of Vedic knowledge, must be completely obedient and submissive and respectful of God. Ideally, one should love God. But even if one is not completely pure, but is given the service of speaking about the Lord, at least one should have faith. One should have faith in the Lord. One should know the Vedanta philosophy. One should know the conclusion of all the Vedic knowledge. And the conclusion of all Vedic knowledge is to know that Krishna is supreme. The Lord says, Sarvasya chaham, hridisanidishto matasmatir jnanam apohanam cha, Vedaishcha sarvara ahameva vedyo, Vedantakud vedavid eva chaham. What does that mean? Krishna says, I am seated in everybody's heart as the super soul. Krishna is right here in each of our hearts. He's there on the altar also. But he is within each of us as Paramatma. He knows everything about us. And he says, from me come knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. In order to know something, Krishna must allow that knowledge to come. In order to remember anything, Krishna allows the remembrance to come. Even when we forget, Krishna allows us to forget. And he says that by all the Vedas, I am to be known. The purpose of all Vedic knowledge, all Vedic study, is to know me, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15:50. He says, I am the knower of the Vedas and the compiler of the Vedanta, the conclusion of Vedic knowledge. So Lord Sri Krishna is the goal of all Vedic study, all Vedic knowledge. So if one sits on the Vyasasana to speak Vedic knowledge, one must know Krishna. And therefore one must have faith in Krishna, full respect for the Lord. So Lord Balaram, who is Krishna's first expansion, not different from Krishna, Krishna's second body, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he enters the assembly. Ramaharshana Sutta does not recognize his position. So what happened? Well, Lord Balaram decided that the necessary correction was to kill Ramaharshana Sutta. And how did he do it? Did he take a big axe, or a sword, or a bow and arrow, or a gun? No. He took a kusha grass, a blade of kusha grass. Yes, and he killed Ramaharshana Sutta with this blade of grass. Because he is the Supreme Lord, he is not bound by the physical laws of this universe. Simply by his will, anything can be achieved. So all the sages present were a little horrified because they had selected this person to speak. And they had given him so many blessings that you'll live long, your remembrance will be complete. And now he's dead. What are we going to do? Who's going to perform the sacrifice of reciting the Vedic histories? So finally it was settled that Ramaharshana Sutta's son, Ugrashava Sutta, would take up the mantle of speaking. The father lives on in the son. Yes? So in this way, Lord Balaram both removed Ramaharshana Sutta and preserved his life. Actually, he was willing to bring him back to life. Yeah? He said to the sages present, whatever is your desire, I will fulfill. Yeah? If you want me to bring him back to life, and he can continue speaking, we'll do that. But the sages said, no, your decision and your action must remain true. Yes? So the solution was found that Ramaharshana Sutta's son would continue to speak. Lord Balaram was playing the part of a kshatriya, a king. And in the Vedic culture, the kings are always very much respectful and submissive of the wise sages, the brahmanas. So Lord Balaram presented himself to the present brahmanas and sages for necessary atonement. Yes? Because for God it's okay to kill someone who is not behaving properly, who is misrepresenting. But nobody else can do such a thing. So Lord Balaram did not want to set such an example, and therefore he had to make some atonement for this killing of Ramaharshana Sutta. So what was his atonement? The sages requested him to take care of one particular demon who had been bothering them. Yeah, this demon. Let me see if I can remember his name. Was it Balvala? Yes. This Balvala had been disturbing the performances of the great sages. And that means he would come and throw all kinds of horrible things upon their sacrificial fires, like pus and blood and stool and urine. And he would spoil the whole sacrificial arena like this. So, as a service to the sages, Lord Balaram dispatched of this demon. Okay. And thus the problem was removed. So Srila Prabhupada continues. The inhabitants of Naimisharanya, learned sages and brahmanas, became most pleased by seeing this, and they offered their respectful prayers to Lord Balaram. They offered their heartfelt blessings upon the Lord, and all agreed that Lord Balaram's attempt to do anything would never be a failure. The sages and brahmanas then performed a ceremonial bathing of Lord Balaram, just as King Indra is bathed by the demigods when he is victorious over the demons. So as we're going through this story, this narration, if there's anything that you find striking or curious or piques some particular interest, if you have any question, then feel free to ask. The brahmanas and sages honored Lord Balaram by presenting him first-class new clothing and ornaments, and the lotus flower garland of victory, the reservoir of all beauty, which was never to be dried up, being in everlasting existence. They gave him the special garland. After the incidents, Lord Balaram took permission from the brahmanas assembled at Naimisharanya, and accompanied by other brahmanas, went to the bank of the river Kaushiki. After taking his bath in this holy place, he proceeded toward the river Sarayu and visited the source of the river. He began to travel on the bank of the Sarayu River, and he gradually reached Prayaga, where there is a confluence of 3 rivers, the Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Here also he regularly took his bath, worshipped the local temples of God, and, as it is enjoined in the Vedic literature, offered oblations to the forefathers and sages. He gradually reached the ashrama of the sage Pulaha, and from there went to Gandaki on the river Gomati. After this he took his bath in the river Vipasha. Then gradually he came to the bank of the Shona River. The Shona River is still running as one of the big rivers in the Bihar province. He also took his bath there and performed the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. He continued his travels and gradually came to the pilgrimage city of Gaya, where there is a celebrated Vishnu temple. According to the advice of his father Vasudeva, he offered oblations to the forefathers in this Vishnu temple. From here he traveled to the delta of the Ganges, where the sacred river Ganges mixes with the Bay of Bengal. This sacred place is called Gangasagara, and at the end of January every year there is still a great assembly of saintly persons and pious men, just as there is an assembly of saintly persons in Prayaga every year, which is called the Magh Mela Fair. How's everybody doing? Anyone know whose beads these are? Lying on the ground, crying. Are we falling asleep? Okay, let's do a little kirtan quickly, and then we'll continue. The words are on the screen. Kirtan means call and response. Yeah, so I'll call, you respond. One mantra for me, one mantra for you. Okay? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any better? A little more awake? Okay, let's keep hearing all about Lord Balaram and his travels. But I just have to stick this charger in first. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare. After finishing his bathing and ritualistic ceremonies at the Ganga Sagara, Lord Balaram proceeded toward the mountain known as Mahendra Parvata. At this place he met Parashuram, the incarnation of Lord Krishna, and he offered him respect by bowing down before him. After this, he gradually turned toward southern India and visited the banks of the river Godavari. After taking his bath in the river Godavari and performing the necessary ritualistic ceremonies, he gradually visited the other rivers, the Vena, Pampa, and Bhimarati. On the bank of the river Bhimarati, there is the deity called Swami Kartikeya. After visiting Kartikeya, Lord Balaram gradually proceeded to Shailapur, a pilgrimage city in the province of Maharashtra. Shailapur is one of the biggest districts in Maharashtra province. He then gradually proceeded towards the Dravida Desha. Southern India is divided into 5 parts called Pancha Dravida. Northern India is also divided into 5 parts called Panchagaur. All the important acharyas of the modern age, namely Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbarka, advented themselves in these Dravida provinces. Lord Chaitanya appeared in Bengal, which is part of the 5 Gauda Deshas. The most important place of pilgrimage in southern India, or Dravida, is Venkatachala, commonly known as Balaji. After visiting this place, Lord Balaram proceeded toward Vishnu Kanchi, and from there he proceeded on the bank of the Kaveri. He took his bath in the river Kaveri. Then he gradually reached Rangakshetra. The biggest temple in the world is in Rangakshetra, and the Vishnu deity there is celebrated as Ranganath. A similar temple of Ranganatha is in Vrindavana, although it is not as big as the temple in Rangakshetra. While going to Vishnu Kanchi, Lord Balaram also visited Shiva Kanchi. After visiting Rangakshetra, he gradually proceeded toward Mathura, commonly known as the Mathura of southern India. After visiting this place, he gradually proceeded toward Setubandha. Setubandha is the place where Lord Ramachandra constructed the stone bridge from India to Lanka, Ceylon. In this particularly holy place, Lord Balaram distributed 10,000 cows to the local Brahmana priests. It is the Vedic custom that when a rich visitor goes to any place of pilgrimage, he gives in charity to the local priests gifts of horses, cows, ornaments, and garments. This system of visiting places of pilgrimage and providing the local Brahmana priests with all necessities of life has greatly deteriorated in this age of Kali. Previously, this was the system. A rich visitor would go to a place of pilgrimage and give in charity to the local priests horses, cows, ornaments, garments. The richer section of the population, because of its degradation in Vedic culture, is no longer attracted by these places of pilgrimage, and the Brahmana priests who depended on such visitors have also deteriorated in their professional duty of helping the visitors. These Brahmana priests in the places of pilgrimage are called Panda or Pandit. Yeah, so now in English, this word has become very popular. It's used to describe any expert in any field, yeah, even fitba or football. And we refer to such experts as pundits, yeah? But it comes from the word panda, which means a Brahmana priest. This means that they formerly were very learned Brahmanas and used to guide the visitors in all details of the purpose of coming there. And thus both the visitors and the priests were benefited by mutual cooperation. It is clear from the description of Srimad Bhagavatam that when Lord Balaram was visiting the different places of pilgrimage, he properly followed the Vedic system. After distributing cows at Setubandha, Lord Balaram proceeded toward the Kirtamala and Tamraparni rivers. These two rivers are celebrated as sacred, and Lord Balaram bathed in both. He then proceeded toward Malaya Hill. This Malaya Hill is very great, and it is said that it is one of 7 peaks called the Malaya Hills. The great sage Agastya used to live there, and Lord Balaram visited him and offered his respects by bowing down before him. After taking the sage's blessings, Lord Balaram, with the sage's permission, proceeded toward the Indian Ocean. At the point of the cape, there is a big temple of the goddess Durga, where she is known as Kanya Kumari. This temple of Kanya Kumari was also visited by Lord Ramachandra, and therefore it is to be understood that the temple has been existing for millions of years. From there, Lord Balaram went on to visit the pilgrimage city known as Palgunatirtha, which is on the shore of the Indian Ocean or the Southern Ocean. Palgunatirtha is celebrated because Lord Vishnu, in his incarnation of Ananta, is lying there. From Palgunatirtha, Lord Balaram went on to visit another pilgrimage spot known as Panchapsarasa. There also he bathed according to the regular principles and observed the ritualistic ceremonies. This site is also celebrated as a shrine of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Balaram distributed 10,000 cows to the local Brahmana priests. From Cape Comorin, Lord Balaram turned toward Kerala. The country of Kerala is still existing in southern India under the name of South Kerala. After visiting this place, he came to Gokarna Tirtha, where Lord Shiva is constantly worshipped. Balaram then visited the temple of Arya Devi, which is completely surrounded by water. From that island, he went on to a place known as Shurparaka. After this, he bathed in the rivers known as Tapi, Payoshni, and Nirvintya, and he came to the forest known as Dandakaranya. This is the same Dandakaranya forest where Lord Ramachandra lived while he was in exile. Lord Balaram next came to the bank of the river Narmada, the biggest river in central India. On the bank of this sacred Narmada, there is a pilgrimage spot known as Mahishmati Puri. After bathing there, according to regulative principles, Lord Balaram returned to Prapasa Tirtha, wherefrom he had begun his journey. When Lord Balaram returned to Prapasa Tirtha, he heard from the Brahmanas that most of the Kshatriyas in the battle of Kurukshetra had been killed. Right, so after he had returned from his pilgrimage, the Kurukshetra war was finished and practically everyone had been killed. Balaram felt relieved to hear that the burden of the world had been reduced. Lord Krishna and Balaram appeared on this earth to lessen the burden of military strength created by the ambitious Kshatriya kings. So this was the situation 5,000 years ago. The earth, Bhumi Devi, had become overburdened with the defense forces of so many demonic kings. So much so overburdened that she appealed to the master of the universe, the chief demigod in the universe, Lord Brahma, for help. And of course, Lord Brahma submitted the plea to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, who then took care of the situation and said that he would soon come on the earth along with his associates to relieve Mother Earth. So we think there are some, big-time demons and military amassments in our day and age, but 5,000 years ago, there was something more extraordinary. There was a great buildup of unnecessary military as a consequence of so many demoniac Kshatriyas. So Krishna and Balaram came to free the world from this burden. Srila Prabhupada writes, "This is the way of materialistic life. Not being satisfied by the absolute necessities of life, people ambitiously create extra demands, and their illegal desires are checked by the laws of nature or by laws of God, appearing as famine, war, pestilence, and similar catastrophes." I recently heard Srila Prabhupada tell a particular anecdote. It's called dog philosophy. So, dog has a piece of meat in his mouth, and he comes across a river or a lake. Let's say a lake. And he looks in the lake and he sees another dog. Yeah? And that dog that he's looking at also has a piece of meat in his mouth. And he thinks, I'll have that. Yeah? I'll have that piece of meat as well. I have this piece of meat and I'm going to take that piece of meat that other dog has. So he drops his piece of meat to get the piece of meat of the other dog, and what happens? He loses both. Actually, one of them was never there in the first place. He drops his piece of meat into the water, right? It was only a reflection. So this is dog philosophy. One thinks, I'm not satisfied with what I have, let me take what belongs to someone else. And in the result, he loses everything. All materialistic empires have gone this way. Yeah. What happened to the British Empire? Take any civilization in history that was not God conscious. They lost everything. They weren't satisfied. They felt the need to expand and to take what was not required to be taken by them. So Prabhupada says, this is the way of materialistic life. Not being satisfied by the absolute necessities of life. People ambitiously create extra demands. Extra demands. Just walk into any supermarket or go to Costco down the road there. So many items for purchase. Yeah. Most, not required, many of them. Okay, foodstuffs, yes, nice. Variety of foodstuff for cooking and offering to Krishna. Very good. But so many other things. Not required. Useless waste of energy and time. So, their illegal desires are checked by the laws of nature or by laws of God, appearing as famine, war, pestilence, and similar catastrophes. Lord Balaram heard that although most of the Kshatriyas had been killed, the Kurus were still engaged in fighting. Therefore, he returned to the battlefield just on the day Bhimasena and Duryodhana were engaged in a personal duel. As well-wisher of both of them, Lord Balaram wanted to stop them, but they would not stop. When Lord Balaram appeared on the scene, King Yudhishthira and his younger brothers, Nakula, Sahadev, Lord Krishna and Arjuna immediately offered him their respectful obeisances, but they did not speak at all. The reason they were silent was that Lord Balaram was somewhat affectionate toward Duryodhana, and Duryodhana had learned from Balaramji the art of fighting with a club. Thus, when the fighting was going on, King Yudhishthira and others thought that Balaram might come there to say something in favor of Duryodhana, and they therefore remained silent. Both Duryodhana and Bhimasena were very enthusiastic in fighting with clubs, and in the midst of large audiences, each was very skillfully trying to strike the other. And while attempting to do so, they appeared to be dancing. But although they appeared to be dancing, it was clear that both of them were very angry. Lord Balaram, wanting to stop the fighting, said, "My dear King Duryodhana and Bhimasena, I know that both of you are great fighters and are well known in the world as great heroes, but still I think that Bhimasena is superior to Duryodhana in bodily strength. On the other hand, Duryodhana is superior in the art of fighting with a club. Taking this into consideration, my opinion is that neither of you is inferior to the other in fighting. Under the circumstances, there is very little chance of one of you being defeated by the other. Therefore, I request you not to waste your time in fighting in this way. I wish you to stop this unnecessary fight." The good instruction given by Lord Balaram to both Bhimasena and Duryodhana was intended for equal benefit of both of them. But they were so enwrapped in anger against each other that they could only remember their long-lasting personal enmity. Right? There was serious history between these two, Bhimasena and Duryodhana. They had always been at odds with one another. They could only remember their long-lasting personal enmity. Each thought only of killing the other, and they did not give much importance to the instruction of Lord Balaram. Both of them then became like madmen in remembering the strong accusations and the ill behavior they had exchanged with one another. Lord Balaram, being able to understand the destiny which was awaiting them, was not eager to go further in the matter. Therefore, instead of staying, he decided to return to the city of Dwarka. When he returned to Dwarka, he was received with great jubilation by relatives and friends. Headed by King Ugrasena and other elderly persons, all of them came forward to welcome Lord Balaram. After this, he again went to the holy place of pilgrimage at Naimisharanya, and the sages, saintly persons, and brahmanas all received him standing. They understood that Lord Balaram, although a Kshatriya, was now retired from the fighting business. The brahmanas and the sages, who were always for peace and tranquility, were very pleased at this. All of them embraced Balaram with great affection and induced him to perform various kinds of sacrifices in that spot of Naimisharanya. Actually, Lord Balaram had no business performing the sacrifices recommended for ordinary human beings. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he himself is the enjoyer of all such sacrifices. As such, his exemplary action in performing sacrifices was only to give a lesson to the common man, to show how one should abide by the injunction of the Vedas. Okay, I think we can finish the chapter. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Balaram, instructed the sages and saintly persons at Naimisharanya on the subject matter of the living entity's relationship with this cosmic manifestation, on how one should accept this whole universe, and on how one should relate with the cosmos in order to achieve the highest goal of perfection. The understanding that the whole cosmic manifestation is resting on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also all-pervading, even within the minutest atom, by the function of his Paramatma feature. Lord Balaram then took the Avabrita bath, which is accepted after finishing sacrificial performances. After taking his bath, he dressed himself in new silken garments and decorated himself with beautiful jewelry amidst his relatives and friends. He appeared to be a shining full moon amidst the luminaries in the sky. Lord Balaram is the personality of Godhead, Ananta himself. Therefore, he is beyond the scope of understanding by mind, intelligence, or body. He descended exactly like a human being and behaved in that way for his own purpose. We can only explain his activities as the Lord's pastimes. No one can even estimate the extent of the unlimited demonstrations of his pastimes, because he is all-powerful. Lord Balaram is the original Vishnu. Therefore, anyone remembering these pastimes of Lord Balaram in the morning and evening will certainly become a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus his life will become successful in all respects. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second volume, 24th chapter of Krishna, the liberation of Balvala and Lord Balarama's touring sacred places. So we're going to resume on Tuesday, most likely. There's a slim chance we'll resume on Monday, but if not, I expect Tuesday we'll resume with chapter 25. And this is a really wonderful pastime coming up next. This is called the Meeting of Lord Krishna with Sudama Brahmana. So I look forward to that. Now we have Bhagavad Gita class. And our verse for today is 7:19, right? 7:19. Should we bring the asana? Pardon? Krishna Krishna.
As Prabhuji said before Gaur Arati, so next Arati is at 7 o'clock. Curtains will stay open till around just before 6:30. So they'll shut halfway through the class. So whoever's come to the manor for the first time, welcome to Bhaktivedanta Manor. Whoever's come again, welcome back. And I hope you're all having a nice day today and a nice darshan of the Lord. Before we start the class, we always chant Jai Radha Madhav, a nice bhajan written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it's a very simple bhajan where we just singing the beautiful names of Krishna from his pastimes. So it's easy to follow. So once I recite, please follow and recite after me as well. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Listen to the tune. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Everyone together. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari. 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 Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Vraja Janaranjana. 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 Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari. 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 Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की जय, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जी की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय, तुलसी मान वृंद देवी की जय, Srila Prabhupada की जय. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you for that. So, don't know what's going on in there, but okay. As many of you are aware, before class starts, we do Mangalacharan prayers to seek blessings from our teachers, our gurus, spiritual masters. So hopefully whatever we learn from them, we can pass down. So if you know the words to the Mangalacharan, you can sing along with me. If you not, that's okay. You can fold your hands, meditate on the verses being sung, and we'll start the class after that. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militanyena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadatmayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishnabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Siddhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone should know the next one. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So we're going to read text 19 from chapter 7, which is Knowledge of the Absolute, Vignan Yoga. Yeah, it's on the board. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to recite the verse, and you can follow after me after each line. Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sadurlabha Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavam mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sadurlabha Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavam mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sadurlabha. So we'll do word for word. I don't know where the keyboard's gone, but I'll recite each word and you can just recite after me if that's okay. Bahunam, many. Janmanam, repeated births and deaths. Ante, after. Gnanavan, one who is in full knowledge. Mam, onto me. Prapadyate, surrenders. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead, Krishna. Sarvam, everything. Iti, thus. Saha, that. Mahatma, great soul. Sudurlabha, very rare to see. So the translation is as follows. After many births and deaths, and you can repeat, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Now we're going to read the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to Him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Sri Krishna's mercy is everything, that He is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from Him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Thus he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudeva, or Sri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the 3rd chapter, verse 14 and 15 of the Shvetasvatara Upanishad. Sahasrashirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat, Sabhumin Vishwato Vritva, Tyatishtad Dasanugulam, Purusha Evadam Sarvam, Yad Bhutam Yatcha Bhavyam, uttamratat vas yeshano yad anenan tiro hati. So the meaning of these two verses from the Shvetaswara Upanishad is as follows. Lord Vishnu has thousands of heads, thousands of eyes, and thousands of feet. Entirely encompassing the whole universe, he still extends beyond it by 10 fingers' breadth. He is in fact this entire universe. He is all that was and all that will be. He is the Lord of immortality and of all that is nourished by food. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it is said, Nave vachova chakshumsi na shrotrani na manamsiti. Achakshate prana iti eva chakshate prano hi evetani sarvani bhavanti. In the body of a living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. I'll repeat that line again because even I had to read it twice when I was looking at this. In the body of the living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. It is life air, which is the center of all activities. Similarly, Lord Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, is a prime entity in everything. And because Vasudeva is all-pervading and everything is Vasudeva, the devotee surrenders in full knowledge. And then there's a reference to 2 Bhagavad Gita verses 7:17 and 11:40. That's the end of the purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let's rewind a bit because some of you may not be following the classes every day or may be new to it, and that's absolutely fine. We're going through chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. And this particular chapter, chapter 7, is known as knowledge of the absolute, but in Sanskrit you might hear as Vignan Yoga. It's absolute knowledge. Now in the previous 6 chapters, obviously we know the background. There's a war in Kurukshetra. Arjun gets cold feet to fight his relatives. He goes to the center with Krishna of the battlefield and he starts arguing that I don't want to fight and all these various reasons. And then obviously Krishna starts the Bhagavad Gita by telling Arjun, you're not this body, you're the soul. And then he starts deciphering life to Arjun and Arjun starts asking all these questions. So the previous 6 chapters, Krishna's been answering questions about Arjun, about karma, the jiva, the soul, Gyan, knowledge, Dhyan Yoga, and various, topics. But at the end of the 6th chapter, Krishna describes the process of Ashtanga Yoga in greater detail, and right at the end, he mentions Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantar atmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the mostly intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So right at the end of chapter 6, Krishna is actually alluding to Bhakti Yoga. So the next chapters, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, this next 6 chapters will gradually build up to what is Bhakti, what is Bhakti Yoga. So yoga, as we keep on saying, is to unite with the Lord, is to unite with a purpose. So you've got Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, you're uniting with Krishna by your activities, by your meditation. But now Krishna is going to give the actual shortcut to really get close to him, which is Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna ends chapter 6 with that verse, and he says, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, one who has great faith in me and always abides in me. They're the ones that adhere to me and come close to me. So Krishna starts Bhakti Yoga now in this chapter. So in this verse which we've just had, you're probably wondering, why am I starting from the beginning? Because in this verse, Krishna is mentioning that such a person is very rare. What type of person? One who after thousands of births has actually, with full knowledge, surrendered onto him. That is such a rare person. But what type of person is this? How does this person get to that stage? So we're going to go quickly through the rest of chapter 7 as a summary to understand today's verse. So first thing to ask is, what type of yogi is most dear to Krishna? One that does a lot of tapasya, or one that does simple service. So in the previous chapters, Krishna is talking about all these different type of yogis, one that does Ashtanga yoga, one that, controls their breath, one that does all these austerities. But now Krishna is actually going to say, well, actually, the one that's most dear to him is the one that's going to do devotional service. So Krishna states that amongst the yogis and the tapasvis, whilst there's various types, the one that has great faith in him and abides by him and is in constant state of remembering Krishna consciousness. That's the main thing to remember here. And they perform Krishna bhakti. They are intimately united with the Lord in yoga. And that's the highest of all. So the main point, the main word I'd like to stress is Krishna consciousness. If you look at the meaning of ISKCON, the acronym, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. We've not called it International Society of Krishna Bhakti. We've not called it International Society of Karma. We've called it, or Srila Prabhupada's called it, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Everything starts from having remembrance of Krishna, consciousness of Krishna. So remember that point. I'm going to elaborate on this even more. Now going back to yogis and tapasvis, if you look at all these people doing meditation for thousands of years and doing all these austere activities, he's comparing mountains. So Baldev Vidyamubhan, he's a great saint in our line, and he's actually written a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita for our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, which is Gita Bhashya. And within there, Baldev Vidyamubhan gives an example of two mountains. You got one huge mountain made of lots of rocks and stones, and it's really dense, really huge, the biggest mountain in the universe. But then you also got a mountain that's slightly smaller but made of gold. Which one's more valuable? The gold one, right? Because obviously the value of gold is much more expensive than just rocks. So Baldev Vidyamubhan mentions that the golden one will be naturally superior to the bigger one, even if it's bigger, because it's just made of rock. Same way, a devotee in Krishna bhakti with Krishna consciousness performing devotional service will be much more superior than the tapasvi who's standing on one leg for thousands of years. So this is the difference. It's about consciousness. Because if your consciousness whilst doing all this tapasya is not Krishna, it's not that weight in gold. So quality over quantity. We should try and remember this now. So Krishna is going to elaborate further in this chapter about who that topmost devotee is, or that topmost, believer. So when Krishna mentions one who abides by him in great faith, here's another important point. We shouldn't be following him blindly, because in this verse, Krishna mentions, Gnanavan mam prapadyate. He mentions, he who is actually knowledge surrenders to me. So sometimes we think, okay, just follow the crowd and surrender. But if you haven't got the knowledge behind that surrendering or understanding behind that surrendering will be premature. So Krishna is mentioning here, one who abides by faith in him, but not blindly. We need to have the knowledge behind it to have the full conviction. So someone who's actually done intelligent research and has made an effort in understanding the philosophical truth about Krishna, they're the ones that will actually get instilled with full confidence for Krishna. They'll have firm faith. They'll be like, okay, now I actually understand why I should surrender to him. When we're growing up as children, we're told by our parents, in Gujarati, for example, Bhagwan ne page lag, bow down to Krishna, bow down, right? You may follow out of just faith in following what your parents are asking. But then there'll come a time when you'll actually be questioning, why am I bowing down to? That's not a bad question. You're not being an atheist. You're actually acknowledging some intelligence behind the reason for bowing down to. And that's where your journey starts. You try and understand who he is. You try and understand his activities. And then you'll try and understand his qualities and understand how he is the Supreme Lord. And that's with understanding, not blindly. And then if you've got that firm faith, your faith can't be moved. So this is why Krishna is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita, abide by great faith in him, but surrender with full knowledge, which is what we've just done in this verse. So in this chapter, Krishna expands on this knowledge of the Absolute, Vijnana Yoga. So how can one constantly remember Krishna and have full knowledge of him? So Krishna speaks about this without even asking. So what happens in the previous 6 chapters? Arjuna is asking all the questions and Krishna is just simply answering back. But towards the end of chapter 6, Because Krishna's like, okay, I now need to make him understand what bhakti yoga means. And what is bhakti? Krishna spontaneously actually starts giving this knowledge to Arjuna. So this is an interesting point, that when someone wants to really share something with you, that means it must be important. So here, Krishna is actually sharing to Arjuna the absolute knowledge, preparing him to realize what bhakti is. So he actually improvises and actually starts giving all this knowledge to Krishna spontaneously. And in fact, he's giving that knowledge to us spontaneously. Because remember, Arjuna was a medium of giving the Bhagavad Gita to all of us. So Krishna is openly giving us knowledge about bhakti and getting closer to him. So it's important and we shouldn't take it for granted. So Krishna begins by explaining to him that by being in full consciousness of him, one can know him in full. Krishna states that out of thousands of people, one may endeavor and achieve perfection, but still they may struggle to know him fully. Now you're probably thinking, how can someone achieve perfection but then struggle to understand Krishna fully? Because the person who's achieved perfection that is being mentioned here is not the one that's practicing bhakti yoga. They're the ones that are realizing Krishna from a Brahman point of view, impersonal point of view. So they've got the Brahman realization. So there's three realizations of Bhagavan. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Brahman means like material world, means like, okay, you understand him as being the source of everything, but you don't know him as the person. Paramatma, you realize, okay, there's a form of Bhagavan within me, as a Atma, so Paramatma, the super soul. But you still don't know him as the person. So you can't really have a relationship with him directly. Then the ultimate stage is Bhagavan form. When you realize Bhagavan in his personal form, and you realize him as a person, and you can actually have a loving exchange and relationship with him, one-on-one. So Krishna is mentioning that, those people follow those three routes of realizing Krishna in those three methods. Yes, they would attain perfection, but the person with Brahman realization, they've still not attained full perfection because they don't know who Krishna is as a person. So this is what Krishna is pointing out here, that over here they've got perfection, but they still don't know him. So the topmost one is the one who has full knowledge of Bhagavan as the supreme person. They know him by his name, Krishna. They know him by his form, his Dhup, his Leela. So Krishna then starts giving Arjuna a list of how he is the origin of all creation and resides in various everyday things that we don't realize. So Krishna is trying to point out to Arjuna how to remember him in everything. So Krishna points out things that we take for granted, like he is the taste of water. When we're drinking water, we don't really think that, oh, this is taste of Krishna, do we? We take it for granted, this is water. We need to survive. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Arati and Darshan will open at 7 o'clock in half an hour's time. So going back to that point, so Krishna is describing himself as all these various things around us, that he's the source of everything in short. So he's the source, he's like this taste of water. So if we want to actually be Krishna conscious, when you drink water, we should start remembering this is Krishna, this is his taste. That's becoming Krishna conscious. For example, he's also the light of the sun and the moon. When we look at the sun and the moon, we think, oh, it's daylight, oh, it's night. But then as we've heard in the Bhagavad Gita in various chapters, even in chapter 15, he mentions something similar. He's the source of the moon and the sun, and that helps us nourish ourselves, grow the crops. If we start relating everything we see in relation to Krishna, that's the ultimate knowledge. That's the absolute knowledge. And that way we can remain Krishna conscious. So Arjuna is being helped here by Krishna, and he's being taught how to actually remember him and be Krishna conscious, how we can do the same. And also, he's the original fragrance of the earth. Do you know when it's like raining heavy in the summer before thunder? Has anyone ever smelled the soil? The ground smells different, right? That's the smell of Krishna. So when we have all these little wonders around us and we realize, okay, this is Krishna, that's being Krishna conscious. So we can start practicing this and applying this. So Krishna's pointing out the person who's a topmost yogi, they're actually remembering and seeing him in everything. So then Krishna then carries on and points out that he's basically the source of everything, including this material world, but he's independent and not controlled by it. So he's pointing out his superiority. So he's pointing a difference that I am everything. I'm everything you touch, everything you see, everything you smell. I'm the material creation, everything's from me, but I am not affected by it because I'm independent from it. So the point here is, and it was yesterday mentioned by Mataji in the class, all these points, so that we have to remember and see Krishna in everything, but importantly, he's the prime entity in everything. Anyone, study mathematics in school, university, college? So you might have heard prime numbers. You know what a prime number is? It's a number that can only be divided by 1 and itself. So if you look at the composition of everything, in the Bhagavad Gita we learn that everything's made out of material, stuff like air, ether, fire, etc., etc. You group all that together, that makes something like wood, for example, which has then made the table. But the life source is the prime entity. So Krishna is the prime entity in everything. And today, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada also mentions that he's the cause of all causes. And further down, if I can find it, he mentions that he's basically the prime entity of everything in existence. So we have to remember that Krishna is the ultimate source of everything, the prime entity. So he mentions also in verse 15 that there are 2 types of people. There's the believers and the non-believers. So in verse 15 of this chapter, Krishna mentions that there are people who are atheists, basically, people who are non-believers, and that their knowledge is stolen away by illusion, and instead are taking part in atheistic, qualities and activities like demons. And they will never surrender unto him. So they're the non-believers, and out of free will and conditioning, they will not budge. But then, Krishna points out that there are 4 types of believers. There are other people who believe in him, but there are 4 types. And they all approach the Lord in some form or way, and then start their devotional service onto him. Does anyone know what these 4 are? They've heard of these? Mataji is nodding. Go on, you want to give one?
The ones who believe, you mean?
Yeah, the 4 times.
The ones who go to Krishna for something.
Okay, so that's asking, So that's asking for wealth and prosperity, right? Okay, so they go asking, please, Krishna, provide me something. Okay, good. Anyone know another one? The one in distress, that's the famous one. So this is good. So distress, the one who is asking for something. Third one, anyone know? Inquisitive, okay. What does inquisitive mean? To be curious. Yeah? Okay. Curious about him, curious about Krishna, but they got questions, they got doubts. And the 4th one? Okay, love, devotion is the summary, but that's not what Krishna says. The inquisitive and the wise one. So meaning the person who's basically got faith in him, and the wise and the following him. But that ultimately leads to love for Krishna. So you got a point over there. But Krishna doesn't say that just yet. So he mentions 4 of them. The one in distress, Arati. The distress, basically they're coming to Krishna saying, Krishna, help me. I've got this problem. Please help me solve this problem. There's nothing wrong with that. If we don't go to our parents to ask for help, same thing. We should also be going to Krishna for asking for help. The artharti, the desire of wealth, someone who wants something, someone who wants some sort of material gain and some sort of wealth, that's fine. But it just means they're not fully surrendered because they still want something material. But it's still fine. It's better than nothing. Because even in the Bhagavatam, there's a verse in Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udharati tivrena yabhakti yogena yajetta purusham param. So the summary of that verse is, whether you got any desires, whether you've not got any desires, whether you want liberation, doesn't matter. If you're intelligent enough, you would actually still go to Krishna regardless, even if you want those things. So I know in Krishna consciousness, Krishna bhakti, we say we should do nishkam karma. That's the ultimate thing, meaning we should not worry about our fruits. We should do our, karma and offer it to Krishna and don't worry about the results. Let Krishna give you the results. That still holds true. But not everyone's at that stage. So you're going to be one of these people approaching, either in distress, either asking for something material, Then you've got the jignasu, the person who's curious. Now this is an interesting one, because I used to get the two confused, because the last one is the gnani. So jignasu means someone who's inquisitive, wants to learn about Krishna. But then you got the gnani, the one who's got the knowledge of Krishna. So you're thinking, should there not be the two people? Because first you're going to inquire and be curious, then you get the gnan, right? But according to our acharyas, the inquisitive, they're curious to understand Krishna, but they haven't developed firm faith in him yet. They still got doubt. There's the difference. Whilst the jignashu, the person who's wise, they're in full knowledge and they've got nishtha. They've got that firm faith in Krishna, saying, you know what? I actually trust him fully, wholeheartedly. But the person who's inquiring will be like, I understand it, I accept it, but I've got a but, a question. I've got a doubt. So the wise one is the gnani. Out of the four, the gnani is the one in full knowledge, has firm faith, nishtha, and they're actually practicing Krishna bhakti wholeheartedly and selflessly. If you look at the other three, the person is in distress, they're actually got some sort of selfish motive. Krishna, get me out of this material situation. The person who obviously wants some sort of wealth or some sort of material thing, they're obviously asking for something for their personal gain. They might use it for Krishna bhakti, but they're still asking for themselves. Like, Krishna, please give me a Tesla, you know? But Krishna might say, no, I'm going to give you a Peugeot. But you're like, but I want a Tesla. That means you still want something from him. Then the person who's doubting, they haven't got firm faith. They're still holding on to something and saying, you know what, I'm not ready to fully let go and trust you. So those three, they're still holding on to something. But the gnani, they're fully surrendered to Krishna. They've got selfless motive. They're not selfish. And we don't mean that in a bad way. And importantly, they haven't got blind faith. The gnani's got knowledge of Krishna. So we shouldn't be blind followers of Krishna. We should understand who he is, understand how he's helping us, understand how, by surrendering onto him, we're actually realizing our full potential with him. So they are naturally free from desires. So this is a difference. So in verse 18, before today's verse, and you're probably thinking, we haven't touched today's verse yet, but it all builds up. The previous verse to today, Krishna basically states that the gnani is topmost. And you're probably thinking, well, what about the other three? Well, Krishna states, well, the other three are still magnanimous souls. They're actually very brilliant people. They're brilliant souls. They've attained him, and they've got his affection as well. So he's affectionate to them as well, but because they have not fully surrendered onto him, they've still got some progress to do. And in fact, one who's an arthi or artharthi, they're not going to go straight away back to the spiritual world. So you're probably thinking, this sounds like a tall order for us, but I'm going to help you out to figure out how to go back to Godhead in this life. Hopefully I can attempt as well. So the main point is, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders onto me. So that's what Krishna is saying in today's verse, right? So Krishna is stressing the rarity of bhakti in this verse, because he says, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such a great soul is very rare. Why are they very rare? So, obviously, one in distress, one who's asking for wealth, one who's got doubts. They've surrendered to Krishna to a degree, but they're not fully surrendered. But one who has full knowledge and who's selflessly serving Krishna, that is very rare. Let's be honest, when we come here, when we take darshan of the Lord, how many of us actually have a prayer where we want to, share our distress with him, or be like, Krishna, help me, achieve something in our mature. We've all got that, right? Let's be honest. We've all got that personal motive a little bit, but at least we're going to the right person to talk about it. So that's a good start. Never put yourself down. If you want to ask for something, ask Krishna. But naturally, when you start developing that love for him, as Mataji pointed out, when you got that knowledge of him, you develop that love for him, that love will start becoming selfless. And we can develop that love, not just by knowledge, but with that knowledge realize performing devotional service, performing bhakti in any form or way. So, in this verse, Krishna is stressing the summary of chapter 3 and chapter 5, that material desires need to be given up to make spiritual advancement. So it's this gradual thing. It's step by step. Not all of us can give up everything straight away. And also to give up everything straight away is premature, because your material gains can also be used for Krishna. We're not just talking about money. We're talking about your skills, your qualifications from work, your family, your home, your grahastha ashram, your children. You're not just going to give it up and say, right, I'm giving this all up and Krishna, I want to merge with you. That's impersonalism. Krishna is not asking you to give up your identity. He's asking you to use the best version of yourself to love him and get closer to him. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is a book by Rupa Goswami, and we've got the English version by Srila Prabhupada, translated Nectar of Devotion, there's a nice verse in there. Anya bilashita shunyam gnana karmadya navritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttama. So the meaning of that verse is, when first-class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires, knowledge obtained by monistic philosophy, and fruitive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. Now, if you look at that verse, Krishna is stressing a few things. First-class devotional service develops. So you actually are performing devotional service, and it doesn't just mean doing the Arati. You can be using your skills for Krishna service. If you're a good administration person, good in management, you can help with the temple projects. If you're a good gardener, you can grow flowers for Krishna. If you're a great cook, you can cook for Krishna and his devotees. Point is, devotional service. You don't give up everything and then do devotional service. You use your skills for devotional service, right? But important thing is they must be devoid of material desires. As we said, the topmost devotee is not got material desires. The person who's in distress, the person who's asking for something, the inquisitive, they've still got some desire and doubt. But still, that's a starting point. Don't give up because you feel, oh, I'm going to just ask Krishna for, a new car every 5 years. That doesn't mean you're not a good devotee. Krishnafy, that dream, If you're going to use that car to drive around to, temples or Rath Yatras or take devotees around and use that in service of Krishna, that's a good thing. See Krishna in everything, as we've said in this chapter, right? And then the main thing to point out is the knowledge. So in that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu verse, monistic philosophy. So we shouldn't have the monistic philosophy of that, okay, this knowledge is, we want to merge with the Lord. We've got an identity, a separate identity with the Lord. So we are part of him, but we've still got our independence. So that way we can have a loving relationship with him one-on-one as a person in that Bhagwan form. So that's there. Now, such a person is very rare, right? So someone without ulterior motives, such a soul is very rare. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, today's verse. So it's so rare that someone might have to have thousands and thousands of births. So Bahunam Janmanam Ante, right? So you're probably thinking, is there any hope for us? Because Krishna is saying over here that such a soul is very rare and it might take thousands and thousands of births. Someone like me might read that and be like, you know what? I've got a long way to go. Or I don't know how many births I've had and how many more I need to do, etc. So a lot of people can feel, that this is a challenge. Is it possible to reach this stage of the Gnani that Krishna is describing and be that rare soul in this lifetime? Does anyone think it's possible? You can be honest. Some are nodding possible. Some are saying yes, but they're thinking, but I've got a doubt, right? It's natural. The good news is, it is possible. It's more than possible to actually become that Gnani, become that Atma that's Sudurlabha, rare, We can do that. How can we do it? First of all, the fact that you're all in this temple room, you've all come to see Krishna, you all come to hear knowledge about Krishna and take darshan of him, and you're trying to establish your true relationship with him, that is the start of that journey that you are a great soul in this lifetime. Don't take that away from yourself, because look at this whole world. What's the current population? 8 billion, I think. I think in school we learned 6 billion, but obviously expanded a lot. How many from that 8 billion on this planet Earth, in this universe, are right now sitting in some temple worshipping Krishna or hearing about Krishna? Not many. Not many. So you are already part of that, of the thousands. It's very rare, right? That's a starting point. Don't put yourself down. It's possible. The fact you're here on a Friday afternoon when you could have watched a World Cup match, you are here for Krishna. That's a rare quality indeed, right? So congratulations to all of you. You're on that journey for, reaching that rare soul stage. Also, it is possible in this lifetime, as I said, but we need to push ourselves. So we need to gain the right knowledge, and we need to, importantly, develop that initial faith, Shraddha. So in that verse in chapter 6 at the end, Krishna points about Shraddhavan, one with faith and abides in him, right? So Shraddha. But then I also pointed out the word Nishtha. So you're probably thinking, Nishtha, Shraddha sound same. But in one of our books by one of our acharyas called Madhurya Kadambini, there's 9 stages of devotional service, or 9 stages of bhakti. And it starts with Shraddha. So Shraddha means to have some initial faith. So we've all got that initial faith, which is why we're here. And with that initial faith, we need to make that push to Nishtha. So there's a whole journey. So Shraddha, we first of all have that initial faith, so we turn up, and then we listen to someone. So that's sadhu sangha. So if we gain sadhu sangha, if we actually ask the right questions to the right person who's realized, we will start learning the right knowledge. And with that knowledge, we will start performing devotional service, bhajan kriya, which is the 3rd stage. So if we perform devotional service, we're actively thinking of Krishna and performing physical tasks for Krishna as well, mentally and physically. So you are becoming Krishna conscious. But when you become Krishna conscious, you start getting challenges as well. Just like everything, you'll be tested. So the 4th stage is anartha nivritti, where we're churning out undesirable things. And it's natural because it's like we're doing a metamorphism, if that's a word. It's like we are developing into someone. We're developing into our original person, but we need to get rid of all this old skin, old garments, all these attachments. So anartha nivritti will test us when you're doing bhajan kriya. So it's not like bhajan, you're all straight and then you meet Krishna. No, Krishna is going to test you along the way. Don't get dissuaded by it. It's actually cleansing you. And then when you've gone through that, you've got firm faith, you've gone through all this fire and all these challenges, that's when you get nishtha, firm faith. So it's that person with firm faith who's the gnani, who's the topmost of those 4 devotees, who Krishna is on about is very rare. So you can see the actual way we can reach from Shraddha to Nishtha. It's not that hard. We don't need to go doing penances for 1,000 of years, on a mountain, on one toe like Hiranyakashipu. We don't need to do that. We can chant the Lord's name, we can perform devotional service, we can hear the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, any knowledge about Krishna, apply in our memory of Krishna and become Krishna conscious. That's the winning formula here. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, what about the different types of devotees? Can the Arati, the Artharthi become a Gnani? One example is in the Bhagavatam, Dhup Maharaj. Anyone know the story of Dhup Maharaj? Canto 4? No? Okay. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a story of Dhup Maharaj. He's a great devotee, and he's a 6-year-old boy. I repeat, he's a 6-year-old boy. Anyone older than 6 here? Everyone, right? So if a 6-year-old boy can do it, we can do it. That's the whole point of this story. So Dhup Maharaj is a prince. He's the son of Maharaj Uttanapad, and he's got a stepbrother, Uttam, and basically he's got 2 moms. So he's got his mom Suniti, and he's got his stepmom Suruchi. And I think they're sisters. Suniti is the oldest, so she's the head queen, but as usual, the youngest one's favored by the king, Suruchi. So Dhup Maharaj, Uttam, when they're princes, 6-year-old little kids, they want to play with their dad, they're playing with their dad. Uttam sits on the king's lap, just like usual, the son sits on the father's lap. And Dhruva also wants to sit on his father's lap. But then what happens? The stepmom, Uttam's mom, Suruchi, says, you can't sit on your father's lap because you're not born from my womb. Imagine a 6-year-old being told that you don't deserve to sit on your father's lap because you're not my son. 6-year-old Dhruva was angry. Just like a usual, 6-year-old kid, they get angry. I dare you say that to me, They're angry, they're upset. He goes to complain to his mom, Suniti. What does Suniti say? Instead of being like, how dare she, let me go fight him, she said, well, actually, she has a point, and maybe you should go and, pray for a lifetime where you are born from her womb to sit on your father. So Dhruva is really angry now. And he goes, okay, how do I pray for this prayer? He wants something, so he's an Arati. How do I pray for this? And then he basically talks to his mom, and he's like, you know what? As a 6-year-old, imagine a 6-year-old saying this, forget this palace. I want a palace that's bigger and better than my father's palace. Forget my father's palace being bigger, better. His father is Brahma. I want a palace even better than Brahma's. A 6-year-old boy is asking for something. So he's an Arati, right? So obviously his mother says, go to the forest and pray to Krishna or Vishnu, Vasudev, Narayan. So as a 6-year-old boy, he actually goes to the forest. In between, he meets Narad Muni. Narad Muni thinks this 6-year-old boy is a joke. Surely he's not taking this seriously. But he sees the intent, so he gives him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He initiates him. And then he goes, okay, do some penance for 6 months. In the forest of Madhuvan. Madhuvan's in Vrindavan, so it actually takes place in Vraj. So this 6-year-old boy has the intention of getting a palace better than his father's, better than his grandfather's. So that's asking for something material. He does the penance in such a way that his breathing stops the universe from breathing. Imagine that. He's taken all the life air from the universe. That's how powerful his tapasya became. To the point all the devtas get scared and they're like, Vishnu, please go sort him out now. So Vishnu comes in front of him, gives him darshan. Obviously he doesn't have words, he's lost for words, so Narayan touches his lotus flower to his head or his conch, one or the other. And then all of a sudden he starts praying to him. But the thing is, as he starts praying to him, he realizes, actually I wasted my time. The ultimate goal is to achieve Narayan, not this palace. But Krishna still gives him the palace. Narayan still says, okay, I'm going to give you a planet of your own, Dhruv, right? You're going to reside there. That's going to be your palace forever. Even when the material world gets destroyed, that doesn't get destroyed. Imagine you get to see Narayan and you get this huge blessing of immortality. He wasn't happy because he realized, actually, you know what? I shouldn't have asked for anything. I asked for all this glass when there was a gem right in front of me, this precious stone, which is Narayan, pure bhakti. So in that story, here's the thing. He's an Arati. He's praying for something material. But later on, he realizes his mistake. Well, it's not exactly a mistake, but he realizes, actually, you know what? There's something higher. He gets the right knowledge from experience. And then he becomes a pure devotee. So this is the point for all of us. When we come to the Lord and ask for something, that doesn't mean we can't become the Gnani. Because from our own experience after, and even after we get reciprocation from the Lord, like He might give you the blessings and give you what you want. If we're fully satisfied and not asking and being greedy for more, we'll understand actually all this material stuff is temporary. We should be asking for something more permanent. That's our relationship with Krishna. So it's possible for us to become that Gnani in this lifetime. That's what that story is for. Another example which I was thinking about, not that it's direct, but Queen Kunti, the Pandava's mother. So there's a story in the Bhagavatam in the beginning when Krishna's leaving, Hastinapur or Indraprastha, wherever it is. And Queen Kunti is like, please don't leave. I want to be fully conscious of you. And then she goes like, you were there during my troubles, and I'm happy receiving distress so I can remember you. Now remember, a person who's in distress approaches Krishna to help for their problems. That's what we normally do, and we're like, okay, thank you, we don't want any more distress. Here you got a devotee who's actually saying, give me more distress so I can remember you. Let's be honest, none of us are at that stage. We don't want more distress, right? But at least we can try and remember Krishna in everything we do, making the prime factor in everything. That's what's in this verse. If we can do that, we become that Gnani with full knowledge and we fully surrender to Him. That's a rare soul. So Queen Kunti is a good example of a rare soul over there. So, as I mentioned, how can we turn our Shraddha into firm faith? So, literally, Sadhu Sangha is our first step. Approach a wise person and learn from them. We've got Srila Prabhupada's books. If you're far away from the temple or you haven't got devotees around you, read Srila Prabhupada's books, his translation, his purports, listen to his lectures. If you're coming to the temple, as some of you are doing right now, you're listening to, me giving my best attempt in trying to give a class, but you're trying to get knowledge of Krishna. That's a step as well. And also associate with like-minded devotees to get that knowledge and help each other cultivate Krishna consciousness. If you're surrounded by devotees, you're going to remember Krishna. And when you remember Krishna, you're going to be encouraged to do devotional service towards him. Right? So that's bhajan kriya. And then obviously you will get the ups and downs, but then that's when devotee support helps you get through those ups and downs, the anartha nivritti, and then you'll have that full conviction towards Krishna, nishtha, firm faith. And then you'll be able to have that full knowledge and accept everything. So that's the difference between the person who's inquisitive and the person with firm faith, the gnani. So the jignasu and gnani, there's a difference there. So that's why Krishna is saying that such a person is rare. And this is the point. All of us can do this in this lifetime if we make the effort. Don't wait for another lifetime. Don't waste that opportunity. Why? Why waste the opportunity? Why be like, okay, you know what? I will try and become a gnani and understand Krishna fully later. The more we delay it, the more we delay our full goal. The ultimate goal, the ultimate prize is peace and happiness. That peace and happiness is only going to happen when you actually reunite with Krishna. So keep that in mind. So we want to make sure we actually build that relationship with them. So remember Krishna as a prime factor in everything, as the reason of, and cause of all causes. And just try and remember him in the most easiest ways. Like Queen Kunti said, in distress, but we don't want that. Taste of water is the easiest one. Seeing the light, remember that's Krishna. The moonlight, that's Krishna as well. When you smell that monsoon rain or, that torrential downpour rain in the summer, when you smell the earth, that's Krishna. He's mentioned all of that in this chapter for us to easily remember him. When we've got something to ask for, when we're in distress, remember him, approach him. That will start your journey for selfless love towards him. So it's not a crime to ask for something. If you're going to ask for something, ask Krishna. He's the best person who's got the best interest in you, for you. So do that. So, yes, a soul may have to undergo thousands of births to reach this stage, Bahunam janmanam. But how do you know that this is not your 999th life? How do you not know that? We don't know that because Krishna takes that memory away from us. So do not put yourself down. Do not hold away from trying to go close to Krishna in this lifetime. Give it a go, Take this one chance. Take this one, one opportunity that you got in this life. Take one step closer to Krishna, and I promise you, Krishna is going to take 20 or more, actually, 1,000, dare I say, to bring you closer to him. So that's my class finished over there. So just to recap, Bhavanam Janamamante, Gnanavan Mam Prapadyate, Vasudeva Saramiti, Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So that sounds daunting, but as we've now realized, you might be one lifetime away from being that great soul. So take that step towards Krishna. Okay, we've got 2-3 minutes. Any questions from anyone? Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Can you just recap the 9 stages again?
Okay, so the 9 stages, I only went through 5 of them, but I'll do all 9. So Madhuri Kandamini has a stage of bhakti as Shraddha, faith, initial faith. Then you got Sadhu Sangha, obviously you're then going to approach them to learn from them. Bhajan Kriya, you perform devotional service with that knowledge. Anartha Nivritti, this is the one where you get challenged. So nothing's straightforward, right? So you're going to get tested. But through passing those tests, you reach Nishtha. So it's like going uphill. Nishtha is the peak. Firm faith, you can't be shaken. Then after Nishtha, you attain a taste, greater taste, ruchi for Krishna. You have this taste for Krishna Bhakti. Then you got asakti, meaning you're letting go of things that you don't need anymore. All these impediments, you're letting go. Then that leads to 2 special last points. Bhava and prema. Bhava is where you realize a relationship with Krishna and you have some sort of, mood for Krishna, a loving relationship. And then the ultimate form of that, the condensed perfection form is prema. So when we say Krishna prema, bhakti prema, when we're trying all these prayers like Vishnu Bhakti, Pradevi, Prema Bhakti, we're asking for that ultimate state, but to do that we need this journey from, initial faith to steady faith. So if you can remember at least from Shraddha to Nishtha, then the rest follows. It becomes a fast downhill. So that's good. Okay. Any other questions or any comments from anyone?
You mentioned about surrender.
Yes.
Apart from the devotional service, how else can you surrender?
So surrender to providence, so you accept what's happening, right? That's one thing, and we all find that difficult. So you may not surrender to Krishna as a person, but you surrender to what's happening in front of you. So say, for example, you put effort in revising for your exams all the way, and then something doesn't work out, or a job interview doesn't work out. But the point is, you still made the effort. You don't know, that experience might help you later on to pass an even better exam or get a better job. So have faith in experience and to accept it. So, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Arati ke shobha Janavi tatavane Jagamana lobha Nikate advetashini Vankachandradhara Roshi Ashe Goracha Ratna Singhasane Arati kore na Brahma Adi Devagane Dana Hari Adi kore Ramaraduraya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Koshe Adhidaya Shankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Shankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Paramanasala Shankha Bhaje Ganda Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Shankha Bhaje Ganda Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Nidai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nidai Gaura Hari Bol Nidai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nidai Gaura Hari Bol Mahokoti Dandradini Vadana Ujala Kala Deshvana Mala Kore Jalmala Shiva Shukha Narada Premegada Gada Shiva Shukha Narada Premegada Gada Bhaktivedanta Gaura Sampada Bhaktivedanta Gaura Sampada Evajayo Jaya Gaura Chande Arati ke Shobha ki Bajaya Jana Vitata Vane Jagamana Lopa Gaurange Radotik Shobha Jagadana Mana Lopa Gaurange Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasidade Shakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jai Shri Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sar Shri Srimad Abhay Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sar Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. Gangamai Yamunamai Ki. Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki. Samavita Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Nitai Gaur Pramanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Now everyone can please be seated. We'll sing the prayers for Lord Nrsimhadev.
Na Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Dala dala dadaine. Hiranyakashipurvakshah. Kashipurvakshah. Sheladanganagalaya. Ito Narsinga Bharato Narsingo. Narsingo Bharato Narsingo. Ito Narsingo Bharato Narsingo. Narsingo Bharato Narsingo. Yado Yado Yamidato Narsingo. Bahir Narsinga Hridaye Narsinga. Bahir Narsinga Hridaye Narsinga. Narasinga Madhim Sharanam Prapate. Tavakara Kamalavare Nata Buddha Shenga Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubenga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Savadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jagara Kamalavare Nata Buddha Shenga. Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubenga. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jagadisha Hare. श्री भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंह देव भगवान की, भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की, जगद्गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गुरु प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna everyone. So now outside there is Mahaprasad being served, so please.